Hi friends, my name is Nandita. I am from Andhra Pradesh.
Good morning dear students. Today we are going to discuss about control and coordination from chapter 7 class 10 CBSE syllabus. Children, let us discuss the parts of human nerve system. First one is central nerve system. The central nerve system is composed of the brain and the spinal cord. The brain controls all the functions in the human body. The spinal cord works as the relay channels for signals between the brain and the peripheral nerve system. Children, let us discuss about human brain. On average, an adult brain weighs between 1 kg to 1.5 kg. It is mainly composed of neurons, the fundamental unit of the brain and nerve system. Recent estimates have suggested that the brain contains anywhere between 86 billion to 100 billion of neurons. The brain, along with the spinal cord, constitutes the central nervous system. It is responsible for thoughts, interpretation, and body movements. Children, let us see where is brain located. The brain is located within the skull, which provides the frontal, lateral and dorsal protection. The skull consists of 22 bones, 14 of which from the facial bones and the remaining 8 from the cranial bones. Automatically, the brain is contained within the cranium and it is surrounded by the cerebrospinal fluid. The cerebrospinal fluid CSF is a fluid that circulates within the skull and spinal cord, filling up hollow spaces on the space of the brain. Every day, the specialized ependymal cells produced around 500 ml of cerebrospinal fluid. The primary function of cerebrospinal fluid is to act as the buffer brain, cushioning mechanical shocks and dumping minor jolts. It also provides basic immunological protection to the brain. Furthermore, CSF provides buoyancy of the brain, that is, the brain is suspended in any layer of CFC wherein the weight of the brain is nearly negated. If the brain is not suspended in CFC, it would be impeded by its weight, consequently cutting off the blood supply in the lower half of the brain. It would be lead to the death of neurons in the affected area. Children, now let us discuss the parts of human brain. Following are the major parts of the human brain. The brain can be divided into three basic parts: the forebrain, the midbrain, and the hindbrain. The human brain has many parts including the cerebellum, cerebrum, brainstem, frontal lobes, parietal lobes, temporal lobes, and occipital lobes. Children, now let us discuss about forebrain, the largest part of the brain. The forebrain is the largest part of the brain, most of which is the cerebrum. Other important forebrain structure including the thalamus, the hypothalamus, and the limbic system. It is the anterior part of the brain. It is composed of cerebrum. The brain is the center of the body. The main divisions of the brain including the forebrain, midbrain, and hindbrain. The forebrain is further divided into subdivisions. They are telencephalon and diencephalon. The diencephalon includes the thalamus, hypothalamus, and pineal body. The major parts of the forebrain are cerebrum, hypothalamus, and thalamus. Children, let us discuss the function of forebrain. The forebrain controls the reproductive functions, body temperatures, emotions, hunger, and sleep. Children, let us discuss the parts and functions of forebrain. First one is cerebrum. The cerebrum is the largest part in the human brains. It is divided into two hemispheres called cerebral hemispheres. It sits mainly in the anterior and middle cranial fossa of the skull. Our cerebrum is the largest part of your brain and handles a wide range of responsibilities. Children, the average adult human brain weighs between 1300 grams to 1400 grams or about 3 pounds. The weight of a brain can vary depending on age, sex, race, environment, and socio-economic conditions. Let us see the weight of brain in sex. When it comes to the male, the average brain weight of an adult male is about 1336 grams. When it comes to female, the average brain weight of an adult female is about 1998 grams. Children, let us discuss the brain weight of age. When the newborn babies have, the average brain weight of a newborn baby is about 350 to 400 grams, and when they come to age of 20, the brain weight of a male is about 1400 grams. Then it comes to 65, the brain weight of a male is about 1300 grams, and the brain weight of any body height, the brain weight increases about 3 to 7 grams for each centimeter of the body height. The brain weight and the intelligence. Children, some says that larger brains are associated with higher intelligence, but this relationship is not always clear. Children, the surface of the cerebrum is formed by an outer gray matter layer which is thrown into a convoluted pattern of ridges and furrows called gray and sulci respectively. Deep to cerebral cortex is an inner mass of white matter which forms a bulk of cerebrum and contain myelinated nerve fibers that convey informations or from the cerebral cortex. Children, now let us discuss in detail about what is cerebral cortex. The cerebral cortex. Cerebral cortex is a thin layer of a brain tissue on the surface of your cerebrum. The word cortex comes from the Latin word of bark as an outer layer of a tree trunk. The cerebral cortex is necessary for memory storage, attention, awareness, thought, language, and consequences. The brain consists of two types of tissues. Already we discussed that. First one is gray matter and white matter. The outer layer of cerebrum are made from gray matter. The gray matter is formed by neurons and their unmyelinated fibers. The white matter below the gray matter of the cortex is formed predominantly by myelinated axons. The surface of every hemisphere is formed from gray matter, referred to as the cerebral mantle, and is folded to extend the area available within the skull. The cortex has roles within perception, memory, and every one higher thought process. Inside the cortex is that the substantia alba, within which are a variety of nuclei referred to as basal nuclei. The basal nuclei receive information from the cortex to manage skeletal movement and other higher motor functions. The gray matter mainly consists of various types of cells which make up a bulk of brain. White matter is primarily composed of axons which connect various gray matter areas of the brain with each other. The exterior portion of the cerebrum is called cortex or cerebral mantle. The surface of the cerebral mantle is folded in mammals. More than 2/3 of the surface is within grooves or sulci. Already we discussed that. The cerebral cortex is connected to the structures such as thalamus and the basal ganglion, sending information to them along with different connections and receiving information from them via afferent connections. Most sensory information is routed to the cerebral mantle via the thalamus, and the cortex is commonly described as comprising three parts, that is sensory, motor, and association areas. Already we discussed that. The cortex is extremely convoluted, due to which it has a large surface area. The cerebrum also includes the sensory areas to receive the messages, and we discussed that association areas, these are integrated the incoming sensory information. It also forms connection between sensory and motor areas. The motor areas is also responsible for action of the voluntary muscles. Children, the cerebrum divided into cerebral hemisphere connected by a mass of white matter is known as corpus callosum. Each hemisphere is split into 4 lobes, that is frontal lobe, parietal lobe, occipital lobe, and temporal lobe. Children, let us discuss in detail about the 4 lobes. First one is frontal lobe. Frontal lobe at the front of your head. This lobe handles things like attention, behavior control, sense what's appropriate to and what's not, the ability to speak, and certain types of muscle movement. It is associated with parts of speech, planning, reasoning, problem solving, and movements. Children, let us discuss about parietal lobe. Parietal lobe is situated at the top of your head. This area handles touch, temperature, and pain signals. It also helps with how you see the world around you, especially judging distance from and the size of objects. It also plays a role in processing sounds, language you speak, your ability to use numbers and count, and how you organize information and make decisions helps in movements, the perception of stimuli and orientation. Children, now let us discuss about occipital lobe. The occipital lobe situated at the side of your head. This area helps you understand language when other people are speaking. It also helps you recognize people and objects. This part also helps you connect emotions with memories. It is related to visual processing. Next, insular. Deep inside of your brain, it is present underneath your frontal, parietal, and temporal lobes. This part of your brain handles taste sense. It may also help process certain types of emotions like compassion and empathy. Children, now let us discuss about temporal lobe. It is situated at the back of your head. This lobe manages much of your eye's sensory input, including the ability to see movement and colors. This region is related to perception and recognition of memory, auditory stimuli, and speech. A few structures that are the part of your cerebrum stand out because they have very specific purpose. Children, now let us discuss the functions of cerebrum. The cerebrum responsible for thinking, intelligence, consciousness, and memory. It is also responsible for interpreting touch, hearing, and vision. Your cerebrum handles much of your brain conscious actions. That means it is responsible for elements that require thinking, including your five sense organs. Your cerebrum manages and processes everything your senses take in. That includes sight, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Language. Various parts of your cerebrum controls your ability to read, write, and speak. Working memory of cerebrum. This is a type of short-term memory. An example of working memory is when you remind yourself to pick up something from the grocery store. Behavior and personality. The part of your cerebrum is your frontal lobe, which manages your personality and behavior. It's the part of your brain that acts as a filter to stop you from doing or saying things you may later regret. Movement. Certain areas of your cerebrum send signals that tell your muscles what to do when you need to use them. Learning, logic, and reasoning of cerebrum. Different areas of your cerebrum work together when you need to learn a new skill, make a plan of an action, or a puzzle out of a problem. Children, let us discuss how cerebrum help with other organs. Your cerebrum works together with other parts of your brain, especially your cerebellum, to help you with your daily activities. An example of this is picking up a pencil off a table. Your cerebrum sends the signals to the muscles in your arms, and your cerebellum helps calculate and controls your movements so your hand goes right to the pencil without missing. Your cerebellum not only managing consequence thoughts but also planning and action. That includes when you decide to be physically active, choose what you want to eat for a meal, or to set aside time to see in a healthcare provided for any reason. Because of this, your cerebrum plays a critical role in the health and well-being of your entire body. Children, let us discuss some interesting facts of your cerebrum. First one is cross presented. When you do something with one side of your body, the other side of your brain is usually behind that process. An example of this is having a stroke on the left side of your brain and feeling its effects on the right side of your body. Your brain is very adaptable. Your brain can rewire itself. This ability can happen as you learn new skills or help your recovery from injuries to your brain. Your brain has a specialized areas. Different parts of your brains are responsible for different abilities and skills. However, that's also fed into the disproven myth that comes people are left brain and right brain. Children, now let us discuss about disorders of cerebrum. The cerebrum disorders are conditions that affect the cerebrum, which is the part of the brain. These disorders can be caused by numerous factors, including genetics, trauma, infections, lifestyle choices. Children, now let us discuss the types of disorders in cerebrum. Alzheimer's disease, a disease that affects the brain. Anxiety disorders, a mental health condition that affects the brain. Next one is attention defect hyperactivity disorder, ADHD, a neuropsychiatric disorder that affects the brain. Stroke, a cerebrovascular disease that affects the brain. The next one is contusion and traumatic brain injuries, the brain injuries that can be affected the brain. Epilepsy, a condition that affects the brain. Next one is dementia. Dementia is a disorder that affects the brain. And depression, a mental health condition, also affects the brain. Then cerebral palsy, a disorder that the brain abilities to control movements. And the brain tumors, a type of brain disease that affect the brain. And hydrocephalus, a condition that affects the brain. Then multiple sclerosis, a condition that affects the brain. These are the examples of cerebrum disorders. Children, now let us discuss about thalamus. The thalamus functions to relay sensory information to the cerebral mantle, and therefore the hypothalamus regulating visceral function including temperature, reproductive functions, eating, sleeping, and therefore the display of emotion. The visceral brain describes a set of structures within the forebrain including the amygdala, hippocampus, also referred as to emotional brain. It is important within the information of memories and in making decisions and learning. Children, let us discuss about hypothalamus. This is a part of your brain whose names under the thalamus manages functions in your nerve system and endocrine system, both which help with controlling of other systems and process throughout your body. An example of this is how your hypothalamus helps messages your body temperature, heart rate, and blood pressure. The hypothalamus is closely associated with the pituitary, controlling an outsized proportions of the activity getting to it. The hypothalamus lies at the base of cerebrum. It controls sleep and wake cycle of your body. It also controls the urges of eating, drinking, etc. The hypothalamus is a small organ located in the brain that controls secretions from the pituitary gland, which sends hormones to different organs. Children, let us discuss in detail about structure of hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is a somewhat complex structure and comprises three regions. Each of these is made up of different kind of nuclei. These nuclei are groups of nerve cells or neurons that carry out many important functions such as secreting hormones. Children, let us discuss the parts of hypothalamus. First one is anterior region, second one is middle region, third one is posterior region. Children, first let us discuss about the first part of hypothalamus, anterior region. The anterior region is also known as supraoptic region. The supraoptic part is made up of supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei. These nuclei mostly secrete hormones that interact with the pituitary gland to form more hormones. The anterior region secretes some essential hypothalamus hormones. Aspirin. The aspirin is also known as antidiuretic hormone or ADH. It modulates the level of water in the body. Oxytocin. The hormone oxytocin regulates several emotional responses and behavioral such as recognition, sexual arousal, excitement, and trust. It also controls some part of your reproductive system such as lactation and childbirth. Thyrotropin releasing hormone TRH. This TRH signals the pituitary to secrete the thyroid stimulating hormone or TSH. Corticotropin releasing hormone. This CRH stimulates the pituitary to secrete the adrenocorticotropic hormone or ACTH. The ACTH signals that secretion of stress hormone, which is known as cortisol. Stomatostatin. This stomatostatin stops the pituitary gland from secreting some specific hormones. Gonadotropin, releasing hormone. GnRH causes the pituitary to secrete reproductive hormones like FSH and LH. The anterior region also helps maintaining the body circadian rhythms and the body temperatures. Children, let us discuss about middle region. Middle region, also known as tuberal region. This middle region of hypothalamus is mostly made up of ventromedial and auriculate nuclei. The ventromedial nucleus helps to regulate appetite and accurate plays a role in secreting GHRH or the growth hormone releasing hormone. It is responsible for proper growth and development of the body. Children, now let us discuss about posterior region. Posterior region is known as the mammillary region. The posterior region consists of the posterior hypothalamus nucleus and the mammillary nucleus. It helps control the stabilized body temperature, and it is also believed to play a role in memory and cognition. Children, now let us discuss about the functions of hypothalamus. The hypothalamus connects to various parts of the central nervous system. It is connected to the brainstem, the part of the brain that carries information from the peripheral nervous system and spinal cord to the upper part of the brain. The brainstem contains parts of midbrain and hindbrain. The hypothalamus is also connected to the peripheral nervous system. With these connections, the hypothalamus can affect many autonomic or involuntary functions. Besides the hypothalamus hormones, the hypothalamus also features osmotic sensors that react to concentrations of chloride, carbon dioxide, potassium, and sodium. This osmotic sensor signals the kidneys to store or release water depending on their respective levels they play. The role of hypothalamus is an essential one and includes these following activities: maintaining sleep cycles, connects the nerves and endocrine system, balance body fluids, regulates body pressure and heart rate, autonomic functions control, maintain homeostasis such as regulating body temperature, appetite and body weight, heart rate and blood pressure, etc. Motor functions check, eating and drinking, emotion controls. These are the few activities which are done by hypothalamus. Children, now let us discuss the conditions and disorders of hypothalamus. When your hypothalamus is damaged, it doesn't function as it should. Another term for when there is a problem with your hypothalamus is hypothalamic dysfunction. Children, let us discuss the causes of hypothalamic dysfunctions include head injuries such as traumatic brain injury, brain infection, brain tumor in or around the hypothalamus, or brain aneurysms, and significant weight loss caused by eating disorder such as bulimia or anorexia, brain surgery and radiation therapy and chemotherapy, birth defects involving the brain or hypothalamus, inflammatory diseases including multiple sclerosis and neurosarcoidosis, and some genetic disorders such as growth hormone deficiency, thalamus pituitary disorders. Because of close interactions between your hypothalamus and pituitary gland, conditions that affect either are called hypothalamic pituitary disorders. Certain hormone tests can be determined that exact hormone involved to make a more significant diagnosis. For example, hypopituitarism. This condition can be caused by the damage to your pituitary gland or to your hypothalamus, which directly affects the pituitary gland. Diabetics insipidus. This condition happens when your brain hypothalamus does not produce and release enough vasopressin. This causes your kidneys to lose too much water and results in excessive peeing and thirst. Third one is Prader-Willi syndrome. This inherited disorder causes your hypothalamus not to recognize the sensation that you are full when you are eating. Without this sensation, you have a constant urge to eat and are at a risk of obesity. Kallman syndrome. This syndrome has a genetic link of hypothalamic disease causing such as hypothalamic problems in children has delayed or no puberty. Acromegaly and pituitary gigantism. These are rare disorders of growth due to excessive release of growth hormone from your pituitary gland. Syndrome of inoperative antidiuretic hormone. This occurs when the antidiuretic hormone level is too high. Causes including stroke, hemorrhage, infection, trauma, cancer, and certain medications. Central hypothyroidism. Central hypothyroidism is a rare disorder that occurs due to both hypothalamic and pituitary disorders. This most common cause is pituitary tumor such as pituitary adenoma. Next one is functional hypothalamic amenorrhea. This condition is the absence of period for more than 3 months in people assigned female at birth who previously had regular periods, or more than 6 months in a people AFAB who have irregular menstruation. The most common cause of this condition is hypothalamic dysfunctioning. Next one is hyperprolactinemia, a disease in diplomania levels cause an increase in prolactin levels, causes including a tumor, damage to nerve cells in hypothalamus, and other causes. Thank you.